Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Daffa Casanova Amada Putra, and I'm about to explain to you all about silent letters. Now, what is silent letters? So, in English, there are a lot of words that have silent letters, about 60% of them. It is a letter that is not pronounced when reading or speaking English. Now, there are a few rules about silent letters in English. The first is the letter A. The letter A can be silent in words ending with ALLY. For example, romantically, musically, logically. The next is the letter B. The letter B is always silent when it comes after the letter M. For example, climb, calm. Now, the letter B is also usually silent when it comes before the letter T. For example, that, doubt. Next, the letter C is usually silent when it comes after the letter S. For example, muscle, science. Now, the letter D is usually silent in the word sandwich. The letter D can be pronounced softly, not completely silent, before the letter G. For example, edge, badge. Next, the letter E is usually silent at the end of a word. For example, clue, bake. However, this silent E can affect the pronunciation of the vowel before it, making it longer. For example, hit becomes hide, and hop becomes hope. If the E is the only vowel in the word, it is pronounced. For example, he, she, we. The letter E can also be silent in the past tense regular verbs that usually end in ed. For example, wanted. But a lot of the time, that E isn't pronounced. For example, looked, asked. Now, the letter G is usually silent in words such as sign, champagne. The combination GH after a vowel is also usually silent, though high. Next, the letter H is usually silent after the letter W. For example, what, when. It can also be silent at the beginning of word. For example, honest, hour. And after the letters C, G, R. However, the combination CH is usually pronounced sh, but on small occasions, the H is silent. For example, choir, echo, ghost, rhythm, rhyme. Now, the letter I is usually pronounced except in the word business. Now, the letter K is usually silent before the letter N. For example, knife, knock, no. And the letter L can be silent in many cases, especially when the L is difficult to pronounce. For example, could, should, talk. Next, the letter N can be silent next to the letter M. For example, damn, him, autumn. Next, the letter P can be silent. For example, receipt, psychology. It can also changes when it connects to H or PH, and it can often mean F. For example, paragraph, telephone. Now, the letter R is not silent in American English, but it can be silent in British and Australian English. For example, butter. Now, the letter S can be silent. For example, island, debris, aisle. And letter T can be silent as well. For example, listen, castle, ballet, soften. And letter U can be silent too. For example, guitar, guilty, tongue. And it can also be silent in adverbs. Beautifully, wonderfully. Finally, the letter W is silent at the beginning of a word before the letter R. For example, wrong, wrist, right, wrote. That's all from me. Thank you for listening to the end. I hope it proved useful to you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.